So here's my beer that I'm going to keg up. I just did a video on sanitizing and cleaning my keg. So now I'm going to put this beer in there. I forgot my golden rule, which is always move your carboy at least a few hours in advance. When I just moved it up from the basement now, it's of course shook a fair bit and it's probably roused some sediment from the bottom. I usually move the carboy or the fermenter, whatever, bucket a few hours in advance so that it has time to settle again, so then I get less sediment in my beer. No biggie. So what we're going to do here is we want to sanitize our gear first. Now I've got this racking cane. I've had it for quite a while now. And there's my Star Sand sanitizer. You can see that my racking cane, I made this part myself. The J-tube I made with a piece of copper. I almost kinked it up here when I was bending it. But it works fine. I've had this for over 10 years now. It works great. I know that I used this recently, and so the inside is pretty clean. I'm not too worried about cleaning it first. Normally, if you're not sure if it's clean, I'm going to just throw that in there, then you got to clean it with like OxyClean or whatever. So I'm just going to submerge the end in there so that all the middle of the hose is filling up with the Star Sand solution. And then when I get down to the J-tube part, I put this part of the tube in first, so the air bubble comes up here and the whole thing fills up with solution. I do it upside down for 2 minutes and then the other way around. Something that I should have showed you when cleaning the keg is this is a dip tube brush for cleaning the long dip tube. I've also used it in here recently. I gave this thing a really good soak in OxyClean, and I also scrubbed out the inside. I got quite a bit of gunk out of the inside actually because I hadn't done it in a few years. That's the problem of a copper siphon tube, is you can't see what's in it. But I always give it a good soak so I know it's sanitary, even if it's not necessarily clean. But it is good to give it a scrub. You should scrub your stuff out a couple times a year ideally. I am remiss in doing so. Alright, so it's soaked that way long enough. And I will just put it in the other way, and I know that the whole thing got covered. I saw that it's beyond the submersion point when I had it the other way, so everything gets covered, and I'll just let it soak there for a couple more minutes. Alright, let's take a rolling here. So there's my beer, there's my keg, just sanitized it. And I've got to get the beer down in there. I've also sanitized my racking cane. I'm going to take this sanitized lid, and maybe you can't see up there, but I have pot hangers, and I hang my sanitized lid on my pot hangers. I've got this. I used to use tin foil to keep over here, and then I felt bad for using all that tin foil and throwing it away. So I actually use these. I don't even bother sanitizing them as long as they're good and clean. I'm fine with that personally. You may not be. You may want to sanitize it. So I've also got this handy device I got at IKEA. It's for hanging on my pot hanger, and it's like a clothespin, stainless steel. It hangs on the pot hangers, and I'll show you in a minute what I'm going to do with it. So I take this out of here, drain as much of the Star Sand out as I can, and I need the little tip for my racking tube. The little tip goes on there. Whoops, and I need this over here, excuse me. Need my bucket because I'm going to take a little bit of the beer into here because I want to have a drink of beer, and that's all I got. And also I'll take it and measure it, the specific gravity and so forth. So now I ferment with just tin foil over my carboy. I don't bother with stoppers, so I take that off. You can see it's fairly grungy from the fermentation. Now this is where this little clothespin comes in. I used to use wooden clothespins, they work fine. Basically, I put the clothespin on there and it prevents my tube from going all the way to the bottom of the fermenter, which is exactly what you want. So that will get caught up on the mouth of the carboy and prevent the tube from going all the way to the bottom. So I will just throw that in there, and I'm going to show you how I start a siphon. I do the no-no. I don't actually suck on the hose. I make a tube out of my fist like this, and then I suck on my fist. My hands are clean. They were just in the sanitizer if you want to be really paranoid. There I go. Whoopsie. Almost lost it. So now I have my tube filled up, and I can just, I'm going to take probably about a liter here. That's a 2-liter bucket. I'll take about a liter because I'm a little bit thirsty, and I'm going to use some of it to measure. Well, I can drink that anyway after I measure the specific gravity. That's only about 300 milliliters there. I also have to claim some out because there's more beer in that carboy than will fit into this keg. Actually, I think I'm going to take more than a liter because of that. And what I'll do, what I don't drink, I'll just stick in the fridge in this container overnight and finish it tomorrow. It doesn't matter that it's not carbonated, and it will be even less so carbonated tomorrow. It's still yummy beer. I like it. So that will pretty much do that, and I will just set this over there for the moment. And now, if you want to, if you're not as quick as I am, you can kink the hose, put that in there. I like to keep at least that semi-covered because we got kids and cats, and you never know what the heck is going to happen around here. So I like to keep it semi-covered. And hidden back here I have my glass, and beer meets glass. That's right out of the carboy for you. If you pour it vigorously, you can get a little head on it. It's really good. It's not as cold as it would as I would normally like it to be, and not as carbonated, but it's a really good beer. So now what I do is I just monitor the level. I know where the bottom of the dip tube is back here. I can see it up against the glass. It's at about this level. As the level lowers, I will use the clothespin and lower this down further and further. I don't go further than I have to. And of course, I monitor the level in my keg based on how much beer, how much sediment, and so forth. I think I'm going to have just enough perfectly to fill that keg, because actually I stole some beer out of there the other day. That's normally 23 liters, but I stole 2 liters about 4 days ago because I drank a liter one day and a liter the next day. Liter a day, you know. Liter a day keeps the doctor away, I think, or something like that. I think that's how that saying goes, doesn't it? So, I'm just watching, lots of time. I will take this and have a peek. We're good to go. Now what I do, as the level gets lower, I won't do it just now, but I use these. These are hot pads that we got at IKEA. And what I do is tip that back and slide these under here to keep it tipped. And the reason for that is, well, you know, if you've done this before or seen it, you tip the fermenter to get every last drop out of here, or as close to every last drop as you can. So I find it easier to elevate one side, actually. And I'll just do that now that I've talked about it. Carefully, because you don't want to disturb the sediment. And you don't want to tip it too far when it's too full, otherwise it might tip over. But as the liquid level lowers, that becomes less of a concern because the center of gravity lowers as well. A little bit of beer science there for you. Now I wish you could see that tip back there. Actually, I think I'm going to relocate the camera so that you can see what's going on back